Hello, Sean Kosofsky here, and I'm the founder of Mind the Gap Consulting, and we are doing this Nonprofit Fixer video series for our Nonprofit Fixer YouTube channel. This is again a video linked to a blog post I did that got a lot of traction. It was pretty popular and had a good reaction from folks. So I wanted to do a quick video for just a few minutes around 12 things that white leaders of nonprofits can do to diversify their organizations. There's a lot to cover here, so I'm going to move swiftly. First one is decide that race and gender and LGBT issues and all forms of diversity are important. You can't just constantly deal with diversity because someone raises their hand and says, we forgot to look at this process here and I think it's going to appear, not diverse, or it's not going to be inclusive. You need to make a decision if you're a leader that if you're trying to dismantle racism and oppression and sexism and homophobia and transphobia, that you need to have diversity front and center in your decision making every single day. It's as important as fundraising and building a board and all of your systems. So tackle this, make it important, and make it a priority every day. Also, beefing up your non-discrimination policy. A lot of non-discrimination policies are the bare minimum to meet the state law, or you got it from some lawyer somewhere. Look at it, reevaluate it, make it more broad, make it more thoughtful, and beef up that non-discrimination policy because it matters. It sends a signal to your workers and to your board members. Also, I would strongly encourage you to develop a diversity policy. This is more than just we don't discriminate. This is a bold, public-facing statement of your values that you are trying to create a world in which we dismantle all of these different isms out there. So there are many great ones out there. Put it on your website. Put it on every job posting, declare to the world what your values are and how much you value diversity. And that is going to be an easy step. Appoint a task force, do it in a couple months, make sure everyone actually believes in the stuff that they created, and then put out a great diversity policy for your organization. Paying your interpreters, this is important. So I think that if you're going to have someone do ASL interpreting or some kind of interpretation for hard of hearing or deaf patrons or constituents at your events, you should pay them. You should not ask that they do that work for free. If diversity work matters to you, you should compensate accordingly. That's one thing. Another is to commit to spending money in your organization across a number of areas that demonstrate your values. So one organization I ran in North Carolina, we made a decision to spend 25% minimum of all consultant and vendor dollars on minority and women-owned businesses. That is one way to demonstrate that you're committed to diversity, by lifting up minority and women-owned businesses in your community. You can also start hanging out with different people. This is really uncomfortable. Most people hang out with people that look just like ourselves and who are just like ourselves. But if you're a leader, you're held to a different standard. If you actually care about diversity, it means going to events and joining causes and coalitions where you will probably be the minority. But you need to start hanging out with different people and enjoying other people's company, because making those connections will strengthen your organization and your own personal life. Also, decision-making. Every organization has a decision-making process. How do you decide the budget? Where do you put your annual retreat? What vendors do you use? Who do you hire? All of these decision-making processes need to have diversity front and center. It should be something you are immediately thinking about as you're constructing your decision-making process. Whether it's a survey, Robert's Rules of Order, factor in diversity. Also, when you post jobs on the internet for an opening, don't just post it to the usual suspects. Call the minority-owned chambers of commerce or the minority-led chambers of commerce, businesses, trade associations, sororities, and fraternities, and say, we would love to post our job posting even further. Can you help us? There are other creative things you can do to diversify your applicant pool, which will certainly guarantee finalists for your jobs who are diverse. Also, when you put out a job posting, a lot of organizations put at the very bottom that they are an equal opportunity employer. Put that at the top. What if we started putting that at the top? That before I even read about the responsibilities of the job, this organization was telling me what their values were and that this is an inclusive place. As a white leader, as a person of color, as an LGBT person, whoever, I'm going to feel even more attracted to this organization. I don't think this would turn almost anyone off, but I think it would include a lot more people. The executive director and the chair of the board need to have a joint regular, recurring commitment to talking about and infusing an understanding of diversity into all of their decision making. Board agenda, who's invited to train the organization, decisions on the budget, all of those things. Also, I tend to hear a lot of white leaders say things like, I'm not going to put diversity over quality. I'm going to put the right person in the role. That's just offensive, and that kind of thinking needs to be interrupted. Diversity and quality are not odds of each other. If that's how you see things, you've got some big problems around race and diversity, because diversity considerations are not outside of quality considerations. For example, you might need to change or adjust what qualifies someone for bringing value to your organization. Too often it's experience or education or skills. And what if someone's reach into a community is really far, or they're trilingual, or they have this amazing level of experience because they've been an immigrant or because they've been queer. So if someone is different, they have bringing a world of experience to the organization that you're just not seeing or quantifying. So we need to adjust and look at what we call qualified, because that is keeping a lot of white leaders stuck in a rut in terms of diversity. Also, implicit bias training. I think this is really vital. If you don't know what implicit bias is, Google it. It's a thing. It's happening in all of our organizations and in our families and everyday lives. Pay your implicit bias trainer. Bring someone in, just like the ASL interpreter, bring someone in who can help train your organization about all the different ways where implicit bias might be creeping into your organization. I think that's it. I think those are the 12 different ways in which white leaders could, in just a few months' time, impact diversity within their organization. So if you support these, or if you don't support these, leave some comments down below, shoot me a message, forward the blog on to other folks, subscribe to this channel. But this is some wisdom around what white leaders can do to diversify their organizations. Thanks so much.